Hey, welcome to Color Up. Today we're going to prove with video evidence that dice setting does work. Or does it? So last week I was invited to a social media influencer craps game. And there, beyond others, I met Jeff, who runs the YouTube channel Dice Setters. Now, obviously he's a believer in dice setter, he practices it, and well, he kind of proved it to a degree. I mean, he threw just a monster, which we're about to see here in a minute. Now, me, on the other hand, I threw 2.7s out. So whatever I was doing definitely was not working. Now, for me, I don't really necessarily believe that a long roll is evidence that dice setting works, because I've thrown 40, 50 rolls in the casino as well. And obviously, I just throw them down there randomly. So is this definitely proof? I don't know. Now, I can say Jeff's throw is definitely practice. It looks great. For the most part, you'll see that they land in, in a tight formation. And let's just let the video speak for itself, and then you decide if you think, or let me know if you think dice setting is the real deal and it does influence the outcome of the dice, or once it hits that wall and they start spinning. I'm going to show some slow-mo. They start spinning and bouncing all over. Is it just random? All right, we're coming out. And we've got an 8. 8 easy. So here you can see I slowed it down a little bit, and I'm going to show with these pink dots where the dice land, his landing zone, and then the green dot is where the dice settle. Now, as far as betting, I did not make much money on this big roll, just because, well, I started with the outside bets, and you'll see just how the dice kind of work, and I was talking to other people, so I wasn't paying a whole bunch of attention. But I start out here on the outside numbers, 4, 5, 9, and 10. Next to me is Alex from Casino Quest, and he was getting demolished. He wasn't doing too well, but for this roll, he decided to switch to the triple Lux, which is amazing timing, because obviously he ended up doing really well, as you'll see here. So let's check his next throw. It's a little bit different landing spot, but you can see his dice are still very tight together. But see, once they hit that wall and they spread out, they're kind of where they finally settle. To me, is where you lose me. So they look good in the air. They even look good, kind of landing. He's trying to hit the similar landing zone, but after that, just kind of watch the slow-mo as the dice spin. His dice separated a little bit there that time. It's the 10, and the dice, I don't know where they settled. They were just out of screen. So definitely check out Jeff's channel, Dice Setters, YouTube at Dice Setters. It was really nice of him. I asked him permission, to do this and kind of analyze his shots. And he'll get to take a look at where his landing zone is for all the shots. If you stick around to the end. All right, there's the 8, so he hit his point. And look at them dice just bouncing around and settling up top there. So he was nice enough to let me analyze a shot and then, share this with you guys. So it's a good question. I know, so many of, I certainly, there's nothing wrong with practicing and trying. It doesn't hurt to try, is kind of what I always say, which is, the easy way out of saying I don't believe in it, right? But just because I've seen so many random rolls that are, if not, or longer, right, than setting. But he says he could do this on a fairly consistent basis. And I know many of you, or many other guys, there's a few guys out there. There's a 12. Let's check the replay. Look at that dice just bouncing around. So that's another thing. I don't know how you really make adjustments. So if the dice lands on a 6, you're like, oh, well, I started with, a 5 on top, so it rolled to the left. But you don't see how many times it actually rotated before it came to that stop. So I don't know how you make adjustments when you see the result. I just know, as you can see, like there, the green dots, they're really spread apart all over the table. All right, shot a little bit longer. Only one die is left in view.
Yeah, I've been full-time about 2 years now.
And so at this point, I've hit the 10, right? Or 5, 6 rolls in. Later on, I finally cover the 6 and 8. And then eventually, I start pressing. So, you know, I made like $200 on this roll, but just not enough. Earlier hands, I was betting a lot more aggressively. But the rolls didn't last, obviously, this long. There's the 5. There's a replay. The dice looked good, and they landed, you know, side by side. But those green dots spread out quite far.
I think it's so niche, and then it scares away some average.
So anyway, I was betting bigger and more aggressive on other players, and you know, it was just typical, you know, me, 2 rolls, and a lot of other people, you know, in that 5 to 8 range before Jeff got the dice.
I think it's just a stigma on it.
Let's look at the replay. Another point winner. I think a little bit longer than he wanted.
Play 6. There was I think in like 2021, YouTube shut me off for like 3 months and just said, you're doing.
So at this point in the game, I still haven't really even.
It took forever.
I haven't paid attention.
Channel back on. It's like, okay, it's not that bad.
All right, he's coming out. 12 craps. His dice landed in a tight formation. Only one ended up in the screen, or in view, I should say.
Yeah, I get so many offers from those, and I won't take any of them just because they're not, you know, unless it's regulated by America, I'm not touching it.
So it looks like there's only one player on the ATS. Got knocked down earlier with the 7.
Okay.
6 easy. All right, the formation's not as tight, but look at that tumble. And then it actually ended up on top of a chip. So I do have the 6, so I must have used a hit. Well, it looks like I would have only rolled the 10, so I must use the 10 to cover the 6. Because this many rolls in, I've got 1 hit, because there's only been 1 outside number. Six easy again. Immediate winner. Ooh. It just rolled over at that last second there.
I actually just signed a TV deal.
So I just collected. So we're this far in. I just got my second hit and just collected, right? Because I had, you know, started with $20, and that was my first collection of, must have been $7. So you could see how I missed out on this roll. And it looks like Alex next to me is already up to $30 there. There's the 7. Tight formation. Look at that dice spinning. Now this is one of the reasons why I personally do not work my bets on the come out roll. Mathematically, it doesn't make a difference. The 7's still going to come, on average, 1 in every 6 rolls. But if you're going to have a monster roll, 7s do appear. And you're going to see Jeff, he's going to roll a few 7s. But by luck, or, you know, that's another thing that he rolls 7s. They just happen to be when the puck's off, which is when you want them to roll.
No, I didn't.
Because they are going to show. So that's my kind of theory on it, is they're going to show. You just hope that they show when the puck is off. So in that case, I've never seen a monster roll, 20 plus rolls without a 7. It's very rare. And, you get up into 30, there's going to be some 7s. And you just want them to, luckily, time happen when that puck is off. So that's why I don't bet the come out roll. Because then, if you work your bets, even if they're pressured up, so now you lose them and you got to start over. So he's rolled 2 7s. So after 6 rolls and after 7 rolls, so he's right there, right at average. He's rolling 7s. They just happen to be when the puck was off. So again, kind of another, one of my reasons why I don't think, or that I do think it's random, not based off of control. All right, minimal movement there that time. Let's take a look at the replay. Tight formation. Pretty minimal movement on the dice that time. 8, and at this point I still don't even have an 8. I wish I was paying attention. But there was a lot of great people there at the meetup, and it was fun talking to them. So I really enjoyed the conversation with some of them, talking YouTube business and that sort of thing. So
they're going to get me into a casino, and I'm going to do craps as like a sport, so like commentate and then film in the casino. So I get opportunities to film all the time, but I'm like, I want studio set up, multi-camera.
All right, looks like his landing zone was off. Let's see the replay here. Yeah, a little bit further out than I think he wanted. Formation was kind of tight, and the dice ended up off screen there.
So that's the game plan, but
after the 7, it looks like someone went back up on the ATS.
so what's your kind of deal, your main sponsor or deal or whatever?
All right, 5. Tight formation. Dice tumbling over, one of them out of view.
That's half my revenue now. Is I started my club like January of 2020, right before the pandemic. So I've now got about 400 members. Huh? I just ran it through a private website. So Patreon was too big of a cut.
That's the 9. Another winner. Good tight formation. But the dice ended up pretty far away. All right, he's hit 4 points. Unique points too, so he's hit 4 to the fire.
Right. Whatever credit card fee is, yeah. Yeah, that's how I did it.
Coming out.
You don't mention that or anything.
Looking for a new point. He's out on the 5. Let's look at the replay. Formation got a little farther apart.
Quite a bit of it. I just never seen you. Hey, if you're in, in the market for real estate or whatever. Yeah, the local stuff doesn't usually do as well.
Again, I'm gonna throw his. You can find his link down below, but check out Jeff at Dice Setters. This is his throw. He says he can do it more than not, or more often than not. All right, craps. He hasn't thrown too many of those horn numbers. He's throwing box numbers for the most part, I think. Dice ended up off the screen.
I moved the 10 to the 8.
Well, here I moved my 10 to the 8 finally. And I think some 10s roll and I miss out. I should have just threw in extra money, but this long of a roll and I hadn't really collected or made any money. It's ridiculous, all right? All right, he hit the 8.
Start a poker channel, but I had a local casino that was just giving me promo money every month, so I just turn the promo money and then play poker.
You could see
but then we stopped. So
at that point Alex's bet is getting up there. Looks like maybe 150, something like that. I think what he did was he went to 300 and then same bet. I think he got that on a couple numbers. So he was down, crawled out of the hole, and then walked away with a nice sized profit. I did crawl out of my hole. I was probably down like 200, and I won about 200 for this roll. But
Silver Legacy, huh?
that's his first hard way.
Press 8.
Right, kind of similar spot. One ended up out of the view.
Yeah, leave it there and let's move the 4 to the 8.
All right, I took my 4 down and pressed up the 8 with it. Just tired of not getting paid enough on these inside numbers, I guess.
I did this hobby for about 3 years before I'm like, oh shoot, I think I can quit my job.
There were more players down at the other end of the table for sure. They were full
Yeah, I made it easy
over there. There was just a couple of us. Down on my end, me, Alex, if you know, like Jacob does Vegas, or gentleman with all the news. Tight formation, a little bit longer, I think, than where he normally aims. One of them rolled back out of view.
How'd you find that one? Like upward?
Yeah, so again, I took my bet off the 4, moved it to the 8, and then the 4 rolls.
Online job stop page. Okay.
I do know the following day on the roll to win table, he also threw, I believe it was 31 or 32 on that table as well. So,
Yeah, I should look into that because there's a lot of stuff that, you know, you
all right, there's the
spend time
10.
on, like, why am I doing
Missed
this?
out on the 10.
It's like, can't really afford to pay $20 an hour to someone, but
And again, stick around if you can till the end. Another hard way. It's a second hard way. I do show a cluster of where his whole landing zone is. So I show every dice roll, and then I show, you know, the big scatter.
yeah, that's nice.
So of course, the title is essentially clickbait, right? I'm trying to get you a title that'll get you interested in watching. Does one roll, is it going to prove anything? No, it's not going to prove anything, but it was a great roll. There's Alex yelling. I think he's same bet is $300 bet. Tight formation, but look at those dice bouncing all over the place. It's scattered pretty far. So yeah, one video, one roll is not going to prove one way or the other. But there are a lot of you out there that really practice it and says it makes a difference. I don't know. I'm just generally a skeptical person in general. You know, I feel like if it worked, the casinos would, you know, ban you, kick you out, change the rules. They allow it. And maybe, you know, some people say, well, there's very few that can do it well. And so maybe the casino's happy to make that trade, right? All right, hits another point. He's already hit the 5 though, right? Yeah, he's already tight formation. Didn't bounce around too much.
Press.
And then, yeah, so maybe they say, you know, a couple of people, it works for them sometimes. I don't think anyone claims that they could do it all the time. But they're trying to influence and have, you know, push the average 6 or the average 7 out a little bit further. If they could do that just enough to gain an edge back over the casino, you know, that's their goal. We're out on the 9s. Take a look at that one. Tight formation, but a little bit longer, I think. And dice are all over the place. Roll, roll. One's out of view there.
Thank you so much to Ellis Island. We got 916 DJs watching. You guys, I know I got 40, 64 across triple X. I got 25, 60, 66, 150, 25, 75. I'm playing triple X, Amanda.
You got 8, huh?
Yeah, I need.
My other big question is, if you can do it, you know, why is there no one doing this professionally full time? You know, there's some that sell courses and sell books, and you know, but who is beating the game consistently year after year as a professional, paying expenses, taxes? 6 easy.
Making a comeback. Making a comeback.
I mean, we're in a bunch of rolls.
On the road to even, baby. Let's go.
Alex says just now he's just about even, but he's got some good sized bets up there. I did minimal stuff. Like, I think at this point I just start doing $5 and $6 prices. I think the big, you know, I got my bets up to like 24 or 30, something like that. So I love it. I love the idea that, you know, you can make a difference. It is the only game that, you know, you get your hands on. You do control the outcome. I just don't know how much control you have after it hits the wall. And I don't know that anyone claims to, you know, say like, hey, I can roll 6s. You know, they might say, you know, I tend to roll more 6s, but I don't think anyone's like, I'm going to set my dice and then roll a 6. Watch this. They're trying to set a certain dice, keep them on rotation, or, you know, there's different methods, but they're trying to avoid the 7 more than probability says. So right now, like, we haven't seen a 7 in a long time. So he's 9, 12, he's like 16 rolls since he's rolled a 7. So he's definitely avoiding it now. He's on a streak. Eight. Alex is going crazy next to me.
We're even, gang. We're even. We got our money back. Up to 18, baby. 6 and 8 or?
Yeah, that one die did a funky little, just popped up. Little bounce. They do some weird things. That's why they have those sharp edges on them, so they can grip the table and just do some weird stuff.
You live for tomorrow. That's it. Okay. All right, now.
Let's see, he's rolled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8s already. Good. There's that 8 again. Tight formation. I think that's his landing zone, where he likes to be. Most of his shots are there. Them dice, they just spread too far for my taste. Not my taste. I don't really care. I'm just saying, like,
What'd you go to?
I'm sorry? I got 300, right?
Oh, 300?
Yeah.
if the dice had influenced,
2-8 heartache?
they wouldn't react so so differently after every roll. But like I said, he has a good looking shot. For the most part, his landing zone is, you know, spread seems to be pretty tight. So I think he's doing his part up to that point. And maybe that, you know, I think that's his point. I didn't have a long conversation with him, but, you know, if you can kind of repeat that to a degree, you'll do better than someone like me who just chucks him down there. So you're eliminating the first half because you're, you know, relatively getting the same throw and result. And then after that, you know, once you hit that wall, sure, there's chance involved. Sometimes they roll short. They don't have long monster rolls, but the question is, you know, does a dice setter consistently roll better than a random shooter? Alex, another 8. Look at that, 3 8s in a row. Pretty close to his landing zone. Pretty tight formation. I don't know where the dice went. They just went off screen. So
We got 6, we got 7 right here. Come on out. 2, 3, 4. Yep, that's even right there.
it was fun to play with Alex. He did have to do a little rebuy at some point. That's just how the table was going. But he was excited, especially after that third 8 there.
Yes, yes, yes.
Look at that roll 8.
For Green Jesus. Yeah, let's go.
Came out on the 9, 6, 6, 8, 8, 8. Nice.
Another 8. 5. Okay. Take me to 150. Okay, we got 60. Please 84.
It's like he's going to 150 on that number. Look at him. Good formation.
Two-way hard 8.
Throwing a two-way hard 8 for the dealer and me. Just trying to,
Turn my bets off.
you know, because Alex is like 8, 8, 8. Oh, they did a stick change here. Alex turned his bets off. It's one of those things.
Ever work?
It works. It works about 1 out of 6 times.
It works 1 in 6 times.
It's a little superstitious, but hey.
Reverse the jinx.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine. That's fine.
All right, it's the 6. And they ended up off screen.
Okay. I gotta do the stick first and change. Okay. Turn my bets back on. Yep. I will tell you this right now.
Look at that inside rolling machine. There you go, Jeff.
I got 150 here, 150 here, 300 here. And I got 725 out there.
I haven't watched many videos of his on his YouTube channel. Just checked out some of his recent ones, so you know, I don't know what he says, but he seemed nice enough, and he's been putting in the work. So it looked like he had over 200 videos over the last 5 years, so he's been consistent. So hop over there, give him a sub, let him know, you know, if you agree dice setting works, or you know, you can let him know you think it's random. I don't think he'll be offended one way or the other. He's happy to roll long and win big, right? So if it's a real thing, who cares what a schmuck like me says, right? If you're consistently rolling long and betting accordingly, you know, you bet on yourself because you know you're gonna more often than not have a big roll. should be winning. So that's what matters, right? Doesn't matter what other YouTuber, some guy like me says.
Talking to you, I wasn't betting. I wasn't paying attention. I think I was like on.
So he's hit his 6th point, but 2 of them have been repeat. So he's hit 4 unique. He needs the 4 and the 10 to get the full fire bet. It's not on this table, but it's always kind of interesting to see. And then, let's see, looks like he's missing a couple numbers. Looks like he's close to hitting the small, maybe. There's that 7, but it's when the puck is off. Down comes the ATS. Tight formation, but I think longer than he wanted.
I only do it as a tip.
So that's, I mean, you're trying to avoid the 7 with your throw. You throw a 7, the puck's off. I mean, some people roll for a 7 when the puck's off, so they change his dice. I don't know, actually. So maybe he is rolling for a 7 on the comeouts. Hop over to his channel, ask him if he changes his set for the comeout roll. Some people do, so maybe that is the case. But to me, it just seems like that's more luck or coincidence that, hey, that 7 came when the puck was off. But, you know, if you're trying for the 7 when the puck's off and you're hitting it, hey, I don't know. But again, I don't remember him changing his set, but I wasn't, you know, watching his hands the whole time. There's another 7.
The 2 7s finally showed up. Good thing I only had 1 chip and not 2 on there. Damn. $130.
The dice ended up on that chip there. So again, 7s are going to come. You just want them to happen when that puck is off. And
I don't think she understood you.
I think David at Casino Quest said the same. I've heard him say similar. And he doesn't work his bets on the when the puck's off.
Anything else? Yeah. This is fantastic. Starting with 44.
Alex, what number are we looking for?
I mean, he's thrown 4 7s, but he had that really long stretch.
Now it's to the moon. Smart man.
You know, over 20 rolls without a 7, so he's still doing well. Well above what probability says. Look at them dice bouncing all around. Right on the 4, so if he can hit this point, it'll be 5 points to the fire, 5 unique points.
You got a handful of black. And
What happened? The desperate Riz.
Looks like Alex at Casino Quest has regressed all of his bets down, so. Six easy. Another inside number. That roll was long, I think. I don't think he likes to get them out that long, but good result. The dice was kind of on some chips.
Right. The hand tats give him power to break game. Right.
no, it was easy.
I should get a hand tat too.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ellis Island
Just lost your set.
for putting on the event,
Yeah.
giving us a private table. It was a lot of fun. So, the dealer's always great and friendly there. There's 6. Tight formation. But look at them bounce, that reaction.
Take the 8 to 24.
That's where you lose me.
Two-way hard 6. Yeah.
Ooh. Let's get a replay on that one. I think it was really long. But again, his formation's tight because, like I said, his dice they look good through the air. They are tight, spinning together. But ultimately, does that matter? Dice ended up off screen. So tuck back down there in the corner. Oh, okay. 41 is his final roll. Let's go ahead and take a look at his formation here. So you could see his landing zone, you know, usually most of the throws were pretty close together. It weren't like the dice were separating really far, but I think he'd be surprised. Maybe people would consider this good, but I think he'd be surprised how far spread his landing zone is. I mean, you know, a lot of them past that pass line. You know, I don't know where. I think he was looking for that corner around that 6 and 8 in pass line. He certainly has a bunch of them there. And then, so this is my problem though, is look where they scatter. A lot of them ended up off screen in the, you know, corner in the hook, but where the dice came to rest, I mean, they're all the way on the 10, they're in the come, they're just all over the place. So for me, that's why I feel, you know, yeah, control until it hits that wall. And then I don't know how much influence there is after that point. So does it make a difference? I mean, like I said, I 0.7 out twice. No one else had a good roll. There were some other people who were trying to set, but you could tell he was the one there who's put in the time in the practice. So there's kind of a look at both of them, where his landing zone was from his throw, and then where the dice settled. So obviously we don't have a conclusion here. I mean, 41 rolls, amazing roll, Jeff. I thank you for you know, allowing me to share this. Maybe it's beneficial to you. You can see the numbers. Man, he did a lot of inside numbers, and it's funny because I started, you know, with outside bets and chatting away, and so missed out on half the roll before I said, oh, maybe I should bet on this guy. But sometimes that's how craps go. All right, so again, check out his channel, Dice Setters. Jeff, thank you. Thank you to Ellis Island, Alex, Casino Quest, Vital Vegas was there. He's fun to talk to. Jacob does Vegas. Just a lot of fun, great people. And yeah, I don't know. Let me know. Is dice setting real? Is this proof? Or like I said, I've rolled this long in the casino. 40, I think I've rolled some like a 50, I think last year. So, you know, is it all just luck, or does it really make a difference? That's up to you to decide.